we are living a 1945 movement, 75 years, whichever figure you want to do, is when the current global economic and social order was set. That's when most of the institutions were set. COVID, for whatever it was, exposed the current economic and social order and its unsustainability. It demonstrated to the world how unsustainable the world had built. Business had lost trust with host communities. Inequalities had reached a level unprecedented in history. And globalization, competitiveness, economies of scale, the theories upon which the world was being built have been really put to question, because at the end of the day, it was availability. PPEs were not available when they were needed. Vaccines were not available in Africa when they were needed. As a result, the world has come to that moment again, a moment of global reset. I was not there. I bet you were not on that table. And maybe that is why our interest as the Commonwealth, because we were not on the table, as African nations, because we were not on the table, our interests were not taken into account. And as a result, we are where we are today. So the issue has been very well tackled by the panel that spoke before me, that this movement of reset is a movement of a new vision, is a movement of a new leadership, is a movement, like Julie have said, even the youth want to sit on the table. That is the movement we are living in. Fortunately, we are the generation that is in positions of influence and positions of leadership. And the question is, how will we reset the world? And I like really the theme of the conference or the forum, delivering a common future. And as President Kagame has put it forward, it must be a common future of shared prosperity. It must be a future of equal opportunities. And equal opportunities then promote equality in society. As Adeshina said, it's a future of inclusivity, where nobody is left out. And so as we really look at this movement of resetting the world, a movement of a new vision, a movement of new leadership, the question is, what role would the Commonwealth play? And the architects of the forum came out strongly that by connecting, innovating, and transforming, then we can create that common future of shared prosperity, where the private sector, business, regains its trust with the host community, where inequality is addressed. It's on this basis that we as a private sector felt we could add the voice that sustainability should have a multidimensional approach. But on the multidimensional approach, top of it would be a social inclusivity and sustainability, and an environmental sustainability. The world needs to recognize we as the leaders are holding the world in trust for future generations, and we should leave it better than we found it. It's on this basis that the private sector, with a lot of consultation, we have come out with a proposal as to how the Commonwealth could come together. I want to acknowledge from the onset, because Equity decided if nobody is coming forward with a plain sheet, we'll come with a plain sheet and coordinate. We appreciate Mokta Diop. He flew to Nairobi, and the next thing was that he gave me 22 of his top brains to be part of this co-creation. We have 16 development banks, Adesina leading them, African Development Bank, or the European Development Bank saying, yeah, it involves financing. We want to have our eyes on the plan and put so that we can support it, we can co-finance, and we can syndicate the African banks as we finance this plan. I want to recognize the host governments, the national governments. They had their priorities right. The governments need to create the enabling environment, so the priorities must be right. Let me hasten to add, like Rwanda, with the MICE strategy, it's clear what Rwanda wants out of the transformation. Becoming a global financial and business center. Focusing on the hospitality, which they have, focusing on logistics. So everybody knows what they want, but it looks like we had no common plan that we could all put our heads on. And with all the heads on the deck, pulling or pushing the same direction, we believe the reset will happen and happen with our interest considered. Let me also recognize the UN. The UN said this reset needs to take into account the Sustainable Development Goals, and they signed to the plan. And so essentially, it's a plan that the Commonwealth, then we felt we could sell to them. And after 3 visits to London to meet with the Commonwealth, I'm glad the Commonwealth said, looks like a coherent plan that we can adopt, and hand it over to President Kagame. And during his 2-year term of presidency, then the concept of execution can take ground, and we lay a strong foundation. Armed with the concurrence of the Commonwealth Secretariat, we went to the East African community and said, how does it look? And I saw Peter earlier on. Peter is here. Peter said, where do I sign on behalf of the East African community? We felt we were gaining ground, and then Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area, he said, this is a good plan. Let me now summarize the plan in just a few words. The first one is we realized when COVID hit, we stopped everything, but didn't stop eating. Adesina, you said it earlier. The first priority is then to focus on agricultural productivity. And let's not stop talking about African potential, Africa having 60% of all the Arab blood. Let's convert that Arab blood into productive agricultural land, and hopefully stem the food inflation that has confronted the world. The second one is Africa is endowed significantly with mineral resource and mineral wealth. That moment of reset has come for Africa to rethink, not to export oxides, but to add value to its mineral wealth and export finished goods. That will create millions of jobs for the young people. And there will be more jobs in the formal sector. And our export values will go significantly. And of course, government revenue in taxes will be 30, 40-fold because of the enhanced value. And then is the great opportunity for the Commonwealth, for Africa to transform agriculture and the natural resource wealth. It requires massive investment, capital flows between the Commonwealth countries in form of investment is the greatest opportunity. Out of that is also trade opportunities between ourselves. You bring capital goods to Africa, Africa process, and then buy the processed finished products. If Commonwealth, we were told, may not have legal frameworks for trade, but if we have a common objective and common values, that will be enough to be the basis of our investment and trade. Number 3 is what everybody has talked about, young people and women. Let's really capacitate our micro, small, and medium enterprises to populate the value chains of agriculture, mining, manufacturing, processing, trade, and investment. We'll have linked the young people to the formal sector. We'll have sustained them. We'll have made their jobs high value-adding jobs. If truly we want the young people to be on the table, let's embrace knowledge, let's embrace technology, let's embrace innovation, let's embrace science. Let's not do the traditional manufacturing and traditional industrialization. We are in that era where young people could really play a role if we use the tools that they are familiar with. And lastly, as we roll out this plan, let's pay attention to our environment, sustainability of our environment. Let's invest in social impact so that nobody is left behind. Let's capacitate the young people, the women, the rural communities, so that they play a role in the economic activities and they get the benefits of the economic transformation. Let's protect our environment. Let's use clean energy. Let's adopt sustainable processes. Lastly, on behalf of those championing a new course of Africa, of the Commonwealth after the reset, I extend an invitation to you to have your hearts on the deck, for then you'll be shaping the new global economic and social order and creating the order you would like to see. You no longer be passive, but you'll be active in shaping the future we all want, a common future of a common prosperity and a commonwealth that means the same thing to all of us. Thank you very much, and the invitation is extended to you. Thank you.